stain.
Wait, I hear something. It might be Nevrons. Be careful.
Your fate is sealed.
Alright, so I'm late to the party with this one. Really late. By now, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 has been praised to high heavens, picked apart by critics, and championed by fans as one of the best RPGs in years. And you know what? I believe them. But you know how it is. Life gets in the way and the timing just wasn't right. So I waited. I wanted to play the game when I could really give it my full attention. No distractions, just me and the game. And when I finally sat down with it, I ended up spending basically all of last week completely glued to my screen playing through it. And you know what? Even knowing it had this glowing reputation, I don't think I was ready for just how much it pulled me in.
Okay, Professor.
Mes amis, Flory's close. I can feel it.
Come on, you can fly. Can't you get Flurry yourself?
The setting here is a haunting mix of post-apocalyptic ruin and surreal painterly dreamscape. Humanity's down to one last island called Lumiere, cut off from the mainland, which is now crawling with strange and deadly creatures. Our group of protagonists sets out to uncover the truth behind it all, and stop the Paintress, a godlike figure who paints the number of the age that is going to die that year. When their number is up, that's it. Everyone with that age fades away. It's such a striking concept. It's part beautiful and part terrifying, and it's one that sets the tone right away. Of course, things go wrong almost immediately, and every step into the mainland becomes a fight for survival. This is easily one of the most engaging RPG stories I've played in years, not just because of its world building, but because of how much it deeply cares about its characters.
Okay.
Now, I've always been more of a world-first kind of gamer. Give me the lore, history, maps, and I'm happy. And Clair Obscur has that for sure, but it puts its cast front and center, and honestly, I completely vibed with it. Everyone gets their moment, whether it's an intense action beat or a gut-wrenching emotional reveal. I especially loved learning about the cast, especially members like Lune and CL. Their backstories are layered and hit home in some cases.
I just wanted to show off.
That said, I wasn't sold completely on some elements of the story. One in particular really just kind of felt weird to me. Both of the main characters I just mentioned, their side quests involve this sudden romantic beat with the same male character. It's not bad, it's just kind of felt forced and out of nowhere almost, compared to the rest of the organic development elsewhere in the game's story. But one of the things I did love is how the game plants seeds early on, little lines and subtle moments, then letting them pay off later in the game. No endless exposition dumps, no bloated cutscenes, just smart, steady storytelling. And with performances from people like Ben Starr, Charlie Cox, and even Andy Serkis, these characters really do feel alive. Now, the other downside I have is that some important details are tucked away in optional content or like journal logs that can be easily missed. If you're not a completionist, you might miss threads that would make certain moments have even more impact, or maybe you would just be curious about it and you can't get the payoff because you don't know where it is. Combat here is turn-based at its best. I grew up with turn-based RPGs and they will always be home for me. Clair Obscur doesn't technically reinvent the wheel, but it just polishes it to near perfection. Nearly every action in the game has some input from the player. Precise timing, aiming, or positioning. You're not just pressing attack and waiting your turn, you're actively involved in every decision you make. And then there are the bosses. Man, these bosses are very good. Two of my personal favorites are the Dualist. This one is pure Dark Souls energy, almost one-on-one duel that instantly had me leaning forward saying, alright, here we go, it's time to lock in. It's tense, stylish, and one of the coolest moments in the game in my opinion. But that's one everyone talks about. And just personally, my second favorite boss in the game was the Emotions Axion. This is a really interesting fight, the way it's staged, how it's set up, and the flow of the fight, and how it escalates. It was just flawless to me. But that's not to spoil the dozens of bosses that are in this game, some of which have maybe really cool moments depending on who you are. These are the two that I choose though. Even standard encounters stay fresh with a variety of enemy types and tricky timing changes. You're just always thinking, always adapting and reacting. Even against enemies you've already beaten before, they can sometimes come back with new attacks or just change timing. You just always have to be locked in. It's the least passive, turn-based RPG combat I've ever played. And then there is the progression that just always feels rewarding. Leveling up is only part of the fun. The game constantly gives you creative ways to get stronger. There's weapon growth, where your weapons upgrade directly from resources, or you power them up by defeating specific enemies tied to that weapon that can be littered in any random location. I'm sure there's a guide out there somewhere that lists where you need to go specifically, but just playing through the game and doing it organically just felt great to me. And then there's also the Pictos. They're basically accessories that other RPGs would have, but they all have unique effects. And after 4 battles, you can learn that effect and equip it on any character as long as you meet the point requirement. This leads to some seriously satisfying builds, stacking effects that turn your party into a well-tuned machine. Doing a single attack and seeing a whole list of effects and passives that have been activated is pure dopamine every time. It's progression that makes you want to experiment, not just grind the numbers. I personally loved it. The world here is definitely gorgeous. It's ethereal, dreamlike, and even nightmarish at times. Though I will admit, after a while, some of the areas started to blend together mentally for me. The pacing is also a mix of love and mild frustration for me. Like a lot of classic RPGs, you'll be unlocking new traversal abilities, and me being me, I'd backtrack the moment I got one, only to find another inaccessible spot that needed another traversal method to get to. Obviously, that's on me for wasting my own time going back before I probably should have, but that's one of those small quirks that always gets me. I'm one of those people who will note that little unwalkable path in the very opening of the game, and then when I realize I can get to it now, I'm gonna go back and explore it. Wasting my own personal time once again. But once you've got the full toolkit, the game just opens up beautifully. There are super bosses, rare loot, side quests involving all these narrative elements. I told myself I would go straight to the final boss when I got to the last chapter, but then I got pulled into one more fight, one more boss, one more area to explore, and then another, and yeah, you know how it goes. And of course, if we're talking about the presentation, we also have to mention the amazing soundtrack that this game has. There is so much variety, so many themes and emotions and like tracks that just make you think, oh my god, something amazing is happening. Oh, this next combat encounter is going to be super sick. Oh man, I can't believe they're remixing this song. Oh, there's so many songs in the soundtrack that I was honestly really surprised. For a game that's supposedly a smaller project, it just has a huge track list. And you don't really get all of them ad nauseum to the point that you just kind of memorize or get sick of a certain song before you hear the next one. It's just constantly shuffling them for you, and you're just along for the ride when you're listening to the soundtrack. It's very good. And I also really like that you can kind of hear some of the influences from other classic RPGs into this. I swear one of the themes sounds like Xanarkin from Final Fantasy X, and maybe that's on purpose. So, I'm not here to say Clair Obscur is better than its contemporaries. There's been a lot of talk about this game and how it's turning the genre on its head, how other games in the genre should be learning from Clair Obscur. I don't think it's better than Persona or Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy. It's clearly inspired by them and a ton of other games. And in my opinion, all of these games have their own strengths. But Clair Obscur, as a non-Japanese turn-based RPG, as one that is taking influence from its contemporaries, obviously, I don't think it's better or worse. I think it simply stands among them, which is an amazing amount of praise in my opinion. It stands among its contemporaries confidently, and it proves that turn-based RPGs can still feel modern, exciting, and deeply engaging. Even in a landscape that often favors heavy action systems, Clair Obscur really stands out as proving to the world that this kind of combat system can still be fun and interesting, and companies shouldn't be shying away from it. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is, simply put, a phenomenal game. Yes, I have my own personal quirks with it. There are some pacing bumps and slightly repetitive environments. A couple of the story beats were a bit forced in my opinion, but those are such small complaints in comparison to everything that it does right. Even coming in this late, I walked away thinking, I get it. I see why everyone immediately said, this is RPG of the year. This is most likely going to be Game of the Year. If you're a fan of the genre, it's not just worth playing, it's worth doing what I did and clearing your schedule for it. Seriously, it's really that good. And it's not super long either, it's a pretty brisk game. I think I finished it about 35 hours, so I highly recommend it. But that's gonna do it for this one. Have you played Clair Obscur? I know I am the late RPG gamer when it comes to this one. I'm also working on Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I stopped playing to play this because my friends kept talking about it, telling me how much I had to play it. But either way, if you played Clair Obscur Expedition 33, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. I kept this review pretty vague on the details on purpose because I didn't want to ruin the story or some of the characters and all that good stuff. So please forgive me for my kind of surface level approach to this review. I didn't want to get too in the weeds because I think there is a lot of stuff that can be accidentally spoiled if you talk about it too much or give a little too many hints. Either way, I'm Brian at Valkerion Gaming, and thank you for watching this video. Please leave a comment down below if you want to talk about Clair Obscur or some of the cool stuff that's in the game. Please like and sub if you enjoyed this video. I do reviews like this, and I'm hoping to do more stuff in the future that isn't just reviews. I can also stream on Twitch and sometimes on YouTube as well, so check all that stuff out. Either way, good night, good game, and I hope to see you again next time.